You're listening to Hair of the Dogcast, a proud part of the Greenlit Podcast Network. Check out Hair of the Dogcast and all of Greenlit shows at greenlitpodcast.com. Hey everybody, welcome to Hair of the Dogcast, your friendly podcast about video games and beer and video games. This is episode 103, tentatively titled, dang it, Bobby. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Tom Wagner, and I'm here with a man, a usual dogcaster. We haven't seen each other in a while. It's been a while, Dylan, right?
It's been like basically since MGC, which really took it out of me. That next week, holy shit, I was just dead to the world.
I tell you, you got to get your convention legs.
Oh my god, yeah, I was not seaworthy.
We our last Dogcast that we released was live from Midwest Gaming Classic, but it was like the last thing that we recorded, and you can tell it in like all of our voices, like, oh my god, we are dead to the world. Why?
We fucking had that turned out really well though.
Oh yeah, it was it was a fun cast.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I could tell in my voice at least, like, oh dude, this is crazy.
Yeah,
Dylan, good to have you back, man.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I missed out on the last one. You know, work.
Yeah, well, you're always missed. I'm happy.
I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. I'm gonna
right.
drink some beer. It's a Sunday afternoon.
It is. Yeah, and you have beer. I see that. Yeah.
And I'm not watching the Packer game.
Let it be known that we are currently recording during a football game in the state of Wisconsin. So this is how much we appreciate you, dear listeners.
Yes.
We will not rest until we make content for you.
Also, we're not real sportos.
Yes, but everybody else in the Dogcast is watching football right now. Yeah. So that's why we brought in an extra special guest, one of our newest best friends. Would you like to introduce yourself, new best friend?
Yeah, my name is Nighthawk. No, hi, I'm Joey. I run a podcast called Jump and Shoot. It's a gaming podcast where we try to talk about games without dropping the capital G gamer word. And I also do Super RPG Friends with lovely Frank Wood, whom you know, Tom, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. We all met Frank at Midwest Gaming Classic, and I was honored to join the Super RPG Friends this past week as we played through Super Mario RPG and talked about Golden Girls and, God, so many things. It was a blast.
My favorite part of that was forcing you to bring out the purity of your Midwest accent.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
yes.
it was glorious. And yes,
very heartwarming. Where are you located, Joey?
I'm in Chicago. So when you guys were talking about Packers for a second, I was like fuming inside. Even though I don't really care about sports either, I just feel like there's like an innate hatred.
Every time growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, every time we would face the Bears and they lost, it was the song "The Bears Still Suck."
It's our national anthem.
5 times on that bus ride.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You hear it even when we lose to the Bears.
Yeah.
They play it. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere.
I feel like I was being a poser. I have no vested interest in sports whatsoever. Yeah. I live about like a mile and a half away from Wrigley Field, and every time there's a game there, I want to die.
Oh, Wrigleyville.
So yeah, well, not Wrigleyville itself. I'm a little bit north.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But like, still, there's a little fallout up here, and I hate society every time there's a game. Just become fully misanthropic.
Oh yeah.
Each time.
Yeah. Dylan and I live somewhere in the proximity of our baseball stadium, Miller Park, or formerly known as Miller Park, whatever it's called.
American Family Insurance Field.
Sure. Yeah. Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, go Brewers. They're great. But if you could never play a game in Milwaukee, it'd be great, because every time I do, I'm trying to fight traffic and it just fucking pisses me off.
Especially if they're Cubs fans.
Yes. But
it's an unfortunate stereotype, but Chicagoans drive like maniacs.
Yeah.
Oh, because we have big roads and we don't have to be careful. Just like we have a lot of traffic, but we don't give a shit. It's like very entitled drivers for sure, but a different kind. There's like 2 different kinds of entitled driver. There's like Chicago entitlement, and then there's like suburbs entitlement, and they're very different.
They sure are. Yep. So yeah, this has been your podcast, Beer, Video Games, and Midwestern Sports. We've been your hosts. Anyway, we are a podcast about beer, and we do drink actual beer on the podcast.
Yeah.
And Dylan, you said you cracked a beer. What are you drinking right now, sir?
I'm probably going to go through a 6-pack of
That's not going to be that well.
Happy Place.
Okay.
Third Space Brewing Company.
Yeah.
And frankly, I have to drink earlier in the day because I go to bed early. So
Gotcha.
if I want to do it, that's when I do it. Yesterday, I was pretty stone sober, though. So
Good for you. Yeah, that's a solid beer, a solid IPA.
yeah, it's an MPA.
MPA, sorry, Midwest Pale
fool.
Ale. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, you
It's
gotta keep
fine.
it indigenous.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Yingling lager.
Yes, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's just basic, but we don't get it here in Wisconsin, so
They don't sell it at all here?
not yet, Dylan. I guess Miller's going to start publishing it here.
Publishing it.
Publishing the beers here, but not yet. Joey, you drink beer?
I actually don't drink at all. I used
Okay.
to.
Good for you.
And Yingling is like one of those beers that I've like. It's like this sort of. It's like in and out of beers, but like it's not that good,
Right. No.
It's fine.
You like
But,
it
like,
because
is
you
it-
can't get access to it. Or at least you
Exactly.
can't. Yeah.
The forbidden fruit aspect for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I do miss craft beer. I just I have health issues, so I should not be drinking. But I am drinking purely filtered Lake Michigan water for the pure Midwestern effect,
Wow.
Right on.
So,
Wow. Good for you.
which
man.
also may intoxicate me over time. So we'll see what happens.
It's possible.
Yes, beware of cryptosporidium, as we all well know. All right, Hair of the Dogcast is brought to you by executive producers with a lot of executive producer energy, such as Ryan Christinek, Kip, Tyler Keller, Brian Ward, Kate Conti, and incredibly tastefully cromulent listeners such as yourself. If you would like to find out how to support Hair of the Dogcast,
Cromulent.
tastefully cromulent.
Cromulent. What does that mean?
It's a made-up word. I think it's from The Simpsons. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yes. But if you are interested and would like to find out how to support Hair of the Dogcast, because it is our Patreon pals who are keeping the lights on here in the Dogcast studios, go to patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast, all one word. We have tiers for days, for all budgets,
Oh, yeah.
for you, for me, for grandma, Fido, maybe that uncle you don't really talk about much, but you still want to recommend podcasts to. Do that. And if you don't have the money to spare or you're not interested, we're just happy that you're here listening.
We'll
So
also
thank
tell
you.
a friend.
Yeah, we just ask that you maybe give us a good review, and 5 stars is where it's at, baby, and tell a friend. Yeah.
Or don't,
Or don't, yeah. Like I said at the top of the show, maybe I said it, maybe I didn't, editing note, but this is kind of a special episode this week. We're not going to have an evergreen topic that we usually do for most of our Dogcasts, but I think we're going to have enough to talk about in our news segment, which is kind of why we've convened this episode, because we were going to take the week off for Thanksgiving. If you're on the free feeds, you're listening to this on Black Friday. Happy Black Friday. But
Happy? Well, no.
hey, happy capitalism, baby.
Yeah, man. That's called the day I don't go out or do anything.
Yep. Where it's, you're like, shit, I really needed to go get some socks today.
No.
Gotta wait for tomorrow. So we're going to talk about what we're playing and go through some news.
Yeah.
Like I said, which is kind of the impetus of why we're here. So thank you all for joining. And are you ready to get into the news?
Yes, I am.
Joey, are you ready? Joey?
I'm really upset that you didn't thank our sponsor, American Family Insurance Field. Is that the name of it? Did I get that wrong?
Yeah.
It's that, yeah. And I don't even, we also have our basketball stadium is the Pfizer Forum, not Pfizer like the drug.
Yeah.
Pfizer. It's an investment company, I think. I don't even know.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I'm just really upset you guys didn't, call out our monolith capitalist sponsors, So
You're
sad.
right.
So sad.
Yeah.
If they
Demonetized.
wanted to give me money, they're more than welcome to.
We'll insert that later. We're just getting the raw audio right now.
Right.
All right.
I can't wait till we get to the point where we can start selling mattresses and underwear.
Well, first comes Raid Shadow Legends, then everything else falls into place.
Dude, normally I don't like these mobile games, but this one is actually pretty good.
Yeah. And then comes Manscaped, and then some mattress company probably, and if we're lucky, Blue Apron. So,
oh yeah,
if we're lucky,
if you're lucky,
make it.
But
yeah, that's how we'll know we made it.
That's the big time.
Yeah. All right. Here's the news, gentlemen. And here's our top story. It's time for another episode of Life and Times of Disgusting Video Game CEOs. And today we're heading back to Activision Blizzard to check in on Serial Growth CEO Bobby Kotick after a special report dropped by the Wall Street Journal last week. Kind of rocked the company and rocked the video gaming atmospheres. Are you guys aware of the things that happened last week?
Oh, I was kind of like depressed because I'd been working a lot, and I would sit there on the toilet in the morning and I'd just be like, God, I can't read this. And then I would end up reading it later, like on a break, and I'd be like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
You were taking a Kotick.
I was taking a Kotick.
So we are now relabeling bodily functions.
Yeah.
Just a quick recap in case you didn't know or just missed the news train. And we discussed this kind of on previous Dogcasts as well. But earlier this summer, numerous lawsuits were leveraged against Activision Blizzard, alleging abuse, sexual harassment, discrimination towards female employees. And as part of the company response towards these lawsuits, Activision Blizzard claimed that the CEO, one of our favorite troll people, Bobby Kotick, had either denied knowledge of the allegations or had taken action in instances when these allegations had been brought to him. But according to this new article that was published by the Wall Street Journal, not only was Kotick aware of the misconduct, but he was actively involved in ignoring or downplaying the mistreatment of women, and in some cases was actually an active participant in that. So
yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah. What is up? Okay.
Lay it on me, man.
What is up with CEOs in general, right? Yeah. I'm going to do my Andy Rooney. Yeah. You ever wonder why?
Let me tease those eyebrows.
All these. It's like, what is up with this idea that is this just kind of holdovers from like the Romero kind of like attitude era of the way that people think about video games and how they work and how they
suck
function?
It down?
Bobby
Kotick's going to make you his bitch?
Are these CEOs just people who rose through the ranks in an era where video games weren't seen as like a valid form of entertainment? And so their entire life has become like this power grab, and now they can't handle it because now workers and everyone and their mom plays a video game at least once a week on their phone, anywhere. Like, they gamify everything these days. Is it literally just these old fogies that need to be dusted out?
Yes. I mean, I'm glad that you push this like secular anarchistic agenda, because that's what I'm here to do.
I'm happy.
Come on, man.
I'm here for
it. And that's exactly it. I mean, like, CEOs, like any other, in any company, in any like tech company, any entertainment company, are always like this. They're always out of touch. And I think that, like, in a way, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll shit on Bobby Kotick any day of the week, but I think leveraging some of these complaints like toward him are almost like pointless, because it's not like, you guys have worked in a place, I'm sure, where the boss comes in, says 2 words about how to do a job that he has no idea how to do, and then walks off, right?
Oh, yeah, I was a cook.
Yeah, you know.
Like, yeah.
And
like
so I feel
job.
like that's probably the same thing. Did he actually know what was going on? Probably not in like granular terms. Did he know broad strokes what was going on? Maybe.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, I mean, you're right to leverage this this criticism toward him, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, his existence in that company by nature is evil.
Yeah.
And therefore should be taken
right.
down.
I mean, his job is to maximize shareholder value.
Exactly.
And this does not maximize shareholder value.
No, it doesn't.
No. It's just a little, it all reads to me as just very silly. Now, over the years, it must have been a situation where he can kind of cross the line a little bit further each and every time until the crossing of these lines becomes the normal.
Right.
Mm-hmm. While he makes, what was his salary? I think we talked about this once before, but he makes a fucking sick bit of cash.
Yeah. He had, I think, $154 million
that is like,
salary, which he took down to the California minimum of $62,000.
Oh, what a hero!
Yeah, after he had invested that $154.6 million every year to like and have $154 million in liquid assets, which is like what the fuck? Like that's so rich. That's so rich.
It's insane.
So getting a salary cut, who gives a shit? You're already sitting on you don't need a salary cut when you're sitting on a mountain of gold, buddy. Like it's not like magnanimous. And
absolutely.
It doesn't benefit you to have that much cash ever unless you're actually using it. Unless you're putting it back into something. Mm-hmm. If it's just sitting there, it's not doing anything.
Right.
And it's also not at some point it just literally stops benefiting you. You just see a larger number. And I don't know about you, when I see over $1,000 in my bank account, I go, wowee, money bags over here.
I'm just saying, I mean, I wouldn't turn down $154 million. I'd like another slide on my yacht, but
can you imagine? Can you imagine what a frugal, emotionally intelligent person can do with that kind of money? Yeah. You could make
it's like a Warren Buffett.
He could fund a whole nother video game with his fucking cash, and he could make it however he wanted. Yeah. And it wouldn't fucking matter.
The thing is that you don't get to that point of complete obscure richness without being frugal in some way. Like there's like an inherent
being a real cheapo.
Yeah. Like almost compulsion to be hoardative. That's my word.
I like hoardative.
I like that. No hoardatives or preservatives. Yeah. Right. I get it.
But I mean, okay, I want to step back for a second too. And like, I don't mean to try to like be meta, but like the whole like thing with people saying, "Oh, Bobby Kotick stepped down, get the fuck out." All that's doing is like trying to make the shareholders more rich because now the public image is quote unquote like better. And Bobby Kotick can like rest on his laurels and do whatever he wants with his mountain of cash. That doesn't that's not virtuous. The capitalist power vacuum at Blizzard is never going to be non-corrupt anymore. It's too late. He will be
replaced by some other shitty person if he gets replaced, which we'll talk about.
Well, he's right. It's a situation where you have to flush basically all the middle to upper management, which is nearly impossible in a situation like this.
So just to go back to the article, just to quote it for a second, and we'll run down just a few instances here that were mentioned. So according to the article, quote, "Over the years, Mr. Kotick himself has been accused by several women of mistreatment both inside and outside the workplace, and in some instances has worked to settle the complaints quickly and quietly."
Money.
So some of these incidents that were mentioned in the article, co-head of Treyarch, one of the internal studios to Activision, Dan Bunting, he had been accused of sexual harassment by a female employee in 2017. The company investigated the incident 2 years later, and the HR department and supervisors recommended that Bunting should be fired, but Kotick overruled the decision and instead suggested counseling. And Bunting eventually did leave the company, but only after the Wall Street Journal inquired about the allegations. Prior to this article, it wasn't part of this article. It was a different incident.
You're right. There's no punishment to any of this. Unless you take something away, there's no punishment. Taking away a job, it only matters if the person needs the money. It only matters if the person needs the cash. Honestly, like, there should be legislation for people who do stuff like this that like, oh, we're going to actually fine you quite a bit of cash here. Maybe if you take away 1 year of his pay, suddenly he's like,
if you hold people personally culpable,
then it should be justice for all doesn't mean everybody gets the same punishment.
Right.
You know, and especially when it comes to this, there should be some rules in place for it. I don't want to sound too much like a socialist, those guys. So,
please do.
Yes. Yep.
I'm going to have to. It's what I think.
Yeah. So we had another incident here. 2 female employees at Sledgehammer, one of the Call of Duty studios.
Right.
One who alleged harassment and another who had allegedly.
Did they make the newest one, Vanguard, or is that the?
That's the newest one.
That's Sledgehammer.
Oh, the developer.
Oh, the developer. Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know. Actually, I think that was. Hold on. Keep going. I'll fact check.
Yeah, it wasn't Infinity Ward. It's either Sledgehammer or Treyarch.
I think Treyarch was Vanguard, though. I think this one was kind of more.
It was Sledgehammer.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have fact checked.
It has been fact checked. That's what we do here on the Dogcast.
Trust me, guys. I know.
Man, how miserable though that they have to make a Call of Duty game every 2 and 3 or 3 years. And it's just a cycle of making the same fucking video game. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could.
I know. Well, you know, it's like, you're talking about the developers themselves?
Yeah, I feel bad for them because they're a talented group, and I've actually been impressed by a few Call of Duty games in recent years. And I'm just like, what if you let them
do what they want
and fly?
What if there was creative liberty? Whoa, bro.
I know, right?
Well, there's this kind of like groupthink mentality with that too, because you start like, I feel like those studios, and I know people who work in some of these studios personally. So, I mean, like, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I do feel like there's a possibility that like what ends up happening is it's almost like a cult, right? Like you're like, oh, I want to do something creative, but I'm doing this and it's important because it's selling really well and it has like a mainstream appeal. And then you start to swallow the lie and kind of believe it yourself, you know?
Okay. Kind of like a mentality of, hey, I'm actually making something that people are playing.
Right. So therefore it has worth and meaning. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I do think that like, not to be a devil's advocate, but I do think that is like something to consider with big name studios. Another like,
I mean, if they do turn out well, that there is some level of craftsmanship there. I'm not even saying they're all artistically devoid.
Yeah,
I'm just, I could never do that because people put a lot of time and effort into these things, even the ones that turn out bad. I can't make a video game.
I know, even like the shittiest video game, somebody
tried a little.
Yeah.
I never hate on developers as individuals. It's always the problems with games are almost always
except for Hideo Kojima.
But like, the problems with video games are usually due to production or direction or something like that, logistics. It very rarely is like an issue of like a developer being lazy or devoid of creativity, you know, like
So I don't think anybody wants to ship a shitty game at all. Ever.
For sure. Except maybe LJN. I think they were fine with it.
They made that their bread and butter.
That was like their thing. That was the Hammer Studios of.
Oh, okay.
Yes, totally. Great analogy. Yeah. So back to the 2 female employees at Sledgehammer. One alleged harassment and another allegedly was raped by a supervisor on 2 occasions at work events after being pressured to drink alcohol.
Jesus.
So these 2 women were also subject to the company's culture of attempting to suppress the allegations. The incidents were reported to Sledgehammer HR, but the company didn't do anything until the employee, the woman who was raped or allegedly raped, acquired legal counsel and the lawyer threatened to sue. Only at that time was the supervisor fired and an out-of-court settlement was granted. But
probably 1/147th of Mr. Kotick's paycheck.
For what it's worth, though, Activision Blizzard did tell the Wall Street Journal that it plans to ban alcohol in the workplace, quote, soon. Like, what? Soon? Like, you just wanted to say, like, okay, no more, guys, no more alcohol, no more raping. But, you know, we still have a couple Christmas parties coming up. Maybe
after that, we'll reevaluate. We'll circle back.
Not to make
sobriety.
light of the serious thing that happened here, but
also if this was like a work party thing, they might not have even been on campus for that. They might not even been banning it at work though. Like
work events, I think is the
work events. Yeah.
word.
But most work events don't happen in the workplace, do they?
They don't, but it shouldn't matter. Most of that shit's covered. If it's a work function, it's still covered as a work.
Also, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I hear all this stuff and I'm just like, maybe it's because I'm a good, decent human being, but I can't imagine being like, hey, drink some alcohol and I'm going to touch you. Like, no.
Yeah. No, it's wild. I think what's especially upsetting about that is like how that becomes so swept under the rug. You know, like I'm sure that made some kind of headline somewhere, but it didn't stick. And the fact that like you're now hearing about this after the fact is fucked, because that means that like now it's okay to discuss this, you know, like before it wasn't, because before we're just tarnishing your reputation. But now that like everyone's hating on Bobby Kotick and middle fingers are flying everywhere, now it's cool to be like, look how fucked up the workplace was. And that
feels really cheap. It makes everything about the actual like human toll. It makes it seem very cheap. And, you know, with these developers, too, they're not, in general, for the most part, they're very hard workers. And I don't think for a minute that they're being fairly compensated. I'm pro artist all the way. I'm to the nth degree. I don't give a shit about directors, really. They're not the ones who are actually fine tuning it, because to me, gameplay is king above everything else that a video game can do. If it doesn't feel fun to play, then why am I doing it? Like, something can be pretty, like a walking simulator can be pretty, but if the walking sucks, you know?
Yeah.
My man just preaching all the things I came out here to preach. I feel kind of like my breath is being taken away.
Oh, that's good, man. I'm pro worker, no matter what the situation is. And to me, this just reeks of, there's no actual internal, like, even the job I have now is actually quite good about making you understand. You go here and you go here. That doesn't work. You go here and then here.
Yeah.
And if that still becomes a problem, we would like to help you get a lawyer to help figure this out. And it's nice. It's one of the parts I love about my job. It makes sure that everyone has essentially the equal playing field when it comes to like basic human dignity and rights. Mm-hmm. And hearing stuff like this, I'm just like, oh, it was just a bunch of guys getting in a room and deciding, hey man, we're all going to get in trouble if you go down because you have shit on me.
The core is rotten here.
Yeah, it's done. It's over. Like, and these guys aren't even the core. The funniest aspect about this is, if you made the analogy, they're the skin on the apple. Right. That's it. They're not what's inside the apple. The core's fine. It's just the skin is rotted. It's bruised.
Yeah, just that culture just trickulates down. It really does, and it just seeps into just all aspects of the company. I know it does sound superficial, but I mean, it does pay to have somebody with at least good morals, if that's even possible these days, at the helm of a company. You know,
it's why I believe that CEOs should be elected, and it should be people who don't want to fucking do it.
Yeah. Honestly, because...
Just like the presidency.
And not elected by a board of directors.
Right. Well,
exactly.
Unfortunately, that's like completely countervailed to late stage capitalism. But yeah. But honestly, I think the end... I think at the end result of all this, I think Blizzard needs to fucking burn. I think, and it sucks because so many people will lose their job, and people who have literally nothing to do with this or who are very innocent in all this. And like, I don't think the complicity argument is necessarily applicable to a lot of like entry level workers at Blizzard, because it's a hard industry to get into. And like, you know, if somebody, one of my friends actually just got a job at Blizzard, like during this whole shitstorm.
Oh, really? Shit.
Yeah. And it's like, he definitely was like, dude, should I take it? I don't know. I was like, yeah, you should take it. I mean, like, it's something that you wanted, even if it's like a company that you won't be working for in a year, because hopefully it'll be dissolved. But even still, like, you know, you did it. It's part of your career. It's part of your trajectory or whatever. And it sucks because like having a company like Blizzard burn would affect a lot more quote unquote little people than I think most people in the press or all the copy pasta arguments I've been hearing about this. Like, even they don't even consider that. So
that's true. Yeah.
It's
the
tough.
collateral damage if something like that happened would be huge.
It's so weird because
maybe necessary.
Yeah.
Blizzard for, I would say up until like the mid 10s was especially like after Overwatch came out and that became the world's biggest thing for about an entire year. Mm-hmm. They were such a critical, like could do no wrong in the eyes of gamers.
And they took so much insight from the community. Like StarCraft basically got rebooted because people said it looked too similar to Warcraft and felt too similar. And like even WoW got like a ton of different iterations before it even launched. And like they were actually like they had their finger on the pulse of like modernity for a while. And now it's just like seeing this hurts, man, because like I don't know, it just sucks.
It really is like a far cry from when Activision got started because of a few dudes at Atari wanted recognition for the games they made. You know, the old Pitfall days and Kaboom days.
Well,
look how. I wonder what they think about the whole, like the David Cranes of the world think of what I think of their company.
I think that the moment they left, I think they understood that the beast changes over time. Like the name stays the same. The people in the inside change so much more. So maybe I don't know if I left a company like that. If you don't recognize anyone in the building the moment you come back, it's not your thing anymore, and it never was.
Yeah.
It's always about people.
Yeah.
Imagine if like Nintendo, if we found out Shigeru Miyamoto raped someone.
I wouldn't.
Oh God, knock on wood.
You know what, man? I don't know if this makes me cynical. I just assume that people are shitty like that. I mean,
it's not a bad rule.
Yeah, and it's like
these days, honestly, you can almost just brace yourself ahead of time. Like, wow, what a Mother Theresa was really nice. I can't wait for like all this shit to come out about her. You know?
Oh, she was a real bitch.
She was a turf.
Actually.
I'm sure she was, man. Like, you know.
No, she was one of those like dyed in the wool, like suffering is important, so I let people suffer. Mm-hmm. People, look it up, dude. It is disgusting. Mother Teresa sucked. Just putting it out there.
And speaking of like, so, you heard it here first.
Yes.
Let's get that on a shirt.
Right. That's going to be the episode
Catholics
title. Fuck
beware.
you, Mother Teresa. But even talking about management here, like even management is not spared from discrimination, because also in this article, it talks about Jen O'Neill, who became the first female co-lead of Blizzard just 3 months ago. Resigned her position earlier this month and announced she was leaving the company, saying, quote, "I have been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against," end quote. Because according to the article, after 1 month in her role as co-lead of the studio, O'Neill, who is Asian and gay, sent an email to the company's legal team stating that, quote, "It was clear that the company would never prioritize our people the right way."
Right.
She made numerous requests that she receive the same compensation as Mike Ibarra, the other co-lead that was placed in, the co-lead position. According to O'Neill, her request for equal compensation was rejected numerous times by the company for undisclosed reasons. And only after she resigned did the company offer her an equal contract.
Yeah, because they had a safe
hardball.
At that point, it was like they were literally procrastinating it till the very last moment.
Yeah. And it should be noted that O'Neill and Ibarra became co-leads of Blizzard only after former president J. Allen Brack stepped down in August due to the lawsuits that were filed against the company by the state of California and for the alleging a culture of the constant sexual harassment.
So I do want to highlight something about this that so all right, fucking good for her for doing that. Like aces.
Absolutely.
That being said,
oh no,
let's not pretend this is like the most virtuous thing ever too. I think a lot of people are going to see that and be like, oh, what a saint. It's like, no, this person is also rich. Are they Bobby Kotick rich? Absolutely not. Are they inherently evil? Not as much.
No.
But it's a lesser evil thing too. It's like if anyone is in a position to decline something like this,
it means they're doing okay.
They're doing okay. Right. Exactly.
Very true. And to my knowledge, she was also not in Jeffrey Epstein's black.
But you were.
I was, yes.
If you look at the glossary, your name is there.
I'm so sorry to hear that you were diddled by Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, we're getting to the end here. This has been some very good discourse, but there are instances where Bobby Kotick was his personal behavior was cited in the article. I don't know if you guys read about this, but in 2006, he called a female assistant and threatened to have her killed via voicemail.
Wow. Real Alec Baldwin type over here.
Right. He did say he had previously apologized for this obviously hyperbolic comment.
Hyperbolic. You know, Tom, I'm going to fucking slit your throat while you're asleep. You know what? I'm kidding, man.
Well, it's so much easier when you say it to my face. But
Yeah,
you left it to me on a voicemail.
But no voicemail? Who even leaves voicemails in the year of our Lord 2021? Who does that? That's how you know he's a boomer.
This is a more,
Listen, I was going to metaphorically murder you. I was going to kill like the spiritual you. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Dylan.
No,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean,
I apologize.
When you say you're going to kill somebody, it's like an affection.
It's actually scary. It's scarier.
It's scary, but it's like, oh yeah, okay, Dylan likes me.
Could he? I don't know.
Yeah, and in 2007, he fired a female flight attendant on his private jet for complaining that the pilot had sexually harassed her. Kotick was sued and was settled in arbitration for $200,000,
which means paid to nothing.
Yes,
but him.
Literally nothing. No, that's like sweep under the rug kind of deal.
But upon being sued, Kotick allegedly informed the flight attendant, "quote, I'm going to destroy you," end quote. So
I'd ask for more money based off that evidence, but whatever.
Activision Blizzard did respond to the article saying, "We are disappointed in the Wall Street Journal's report, which presents an inaccurate and misleading view of Activision Blizzard and our CEO. Instances of sexual misconduct that were brought to his attention were acted upon," end quote.
Golly. Wait, when are we all going to collectively say, just shut the fuck up and eat your dirt? Just fucking eat your dirt and be like, guys, we fucked up again, I guess. I don't know. What do you want us to do? Please just let us do something. Like, it should be at this point. They should be groveling a little. That's the only way to, it's not even saving face. It's just saying, we fucked up. Here's what we're going to do to make it better. That's what an actual apology is. If you apologize and you do nothing to rectify the situation or say in the future, this will never, ever happen again, unless you really prove that that's the way that it's going to work, then it means nothing. It's all flagrant, just like
blatant apology. Yeah. Stupid.
Mm-hmm. But an apology, when I get apologized to or I apologize to other people, I'm like, I recognize why this was wrong. I promise it will never happen again. Let me know if there's something I can do.
But I will destroy you.
You'll never work in this town again.
So we should mention that, this came out last week, but I mean, this story is still kind of developing, right?
Yeah.
Every day, it seems like there are new developments, new reactions from people in the industry, other companies. So just to kind of run down some of the things that this article has precipitated since it came out. An employee walkout occurred the day that the article was published, and a portion of Activision shareholders demanded that Kotick resign. But as of this writing, Activision Blizzard's board of directors still standing behind their man.
Mm-hmm.
That's
of course
putting money in their pockets, right? A few days later, Sony's head of studios, head of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, spoke out in an internal memo to Sony employees saying that Activision, quote, has not done enough to address a deep-seated culture of discrimination and harassment, and we do not believe their statements of response properly address the situation. He added that PlayStation and Sony reached out to Activision to see what it was planning to do in response to the incidents detailed in the article. The day after Sony's guy said something, Phil Spencer of Xbox came out, sent an email to employees saying that he was, quote, disturbed and deeply troubled by the horrific events and actions, and that Microsoft is evaluating all aspects of our relationship with Activision Blizzard and making ongoing proactive adjustments.
Can you even imagine?
So if anything's going to
get the fire under an ass.
Yes. If anything's going to make anything happen, it's shit like that. If the companies that
fucking
Activision,
PlayStation.
Yeah. If the companies that allow Activision to put their product on the platform say, we don't want it anymore unless you do something.
Yeah. That's dope.
That's like,
that's dope, but let's not forget that that's also marketing. You're also
it is. Oh yeah,
like
100%.
And I'm
who's the good guy over here?
Right, exactly. The playing off virtue, and I don't think that like he's inauthentic or he's trying to play up a role or anything like that. I think he genuinely believes. I'd like to think so, but that doesn't mean that like you.
I've heard that internally Sony is quite like solid on this shit. Like you don't hear a lot of reports coming out of Sony and people being like harassed, and I think they actually do treat their employees a little bit fucking better. So
hopefully, I would like to think that. Yeah. I would like. That's where I stopped being cynical for like a second. I like to assume that.
Yes,
right.
But yeah,
right.
And it's easy. It's really easy to be like cynical, and I mean that like the unfortunate part is like for a lot of people, sometimes a job is just a fucking job, and they want to get through their goddamn day. And so that's what makes this stuff like doubly disturbing.
Yes. And I think the video game industry itself preys upon young creatives with stars in their eyes who wanted to work in video games since being children. So they have that like, I can't wait to get into the industry. It's like the young band just signing a contract just to get signed or something similar to that. Just treating them as you're just another resource, but playing upon their dreams and exploiting them. That hurts too. Just that, everybody has to be involved. All those people have to be involved in this shit while the kings fight and make
always
decisions.
Never be a pawn in a chess game. Always try to be at least a bishop.
True.
Yeah.
True.
There you go.
So there's my new analogy.
And then, like I said, this story's still ongoing, but I do commend some of the outlets, the media outlets, kind of realizing the same thing, like, hey, nothing's happening here, so let's publish exposés or about the members of the board themselves.
Yeah.
And,
I think journalism, much to like the way Joey is talking about this shit too, is a lot of that has become so cynical and so far gone from its original intent too, that this is also marketing because journalistic papers are also owned by a lot of these large corporations as well. So it's all a lot of like internal memos being like, well, we can't talk shit about the mayor. The mayor's brother owns this paper. Yes. It's just like,
but I think it's the board of directors who are sheltering or refusing to budge. And, they came out and said, like, we still support Bobby. He did all the right things. If
he's got so much dirt on him.
But if you can get some heat on them too.
I agree.
He's got dirt on him.
I think that it's, you have to sort of play the game a little bit. Like, not as much as I would like to tear down and rebuild everything. Like, I do think you do have to, like, kind of, like, run with the punches a little bit with journalism.
Right.
Everyone's in it for themselves with their own outlets. But, like, sometimes that does actually bear fruit in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. Like a perfect example, Jason Schreier. Hate Jason Schreier as a person, but he's done a lot of really great things.
You're a Schreier hater?
I'm a Schreier hater.
Joey.
But
what did he do to you, man?
What did he do? He blocked me. No, he didn't block me. I am unblocked by Jason Schreier. No, he's just kind of like a twat. He's like a petulant little shit, but he does really good work.
Yeah, I know.
And he brings a lot of it. And so like I respect that a lot. That's like a case of like I respect the man's work, but I probably would have to resist punching him in the face if I ever had a beer with him.
He can come off as a bit for me a bit. I don't hate him as much as you do, but he comes off as pious.
Yeah,
I listen to his podcast, and his nasally voice does get to me every once in a while.
And as a fellow nasaler, I have to try to. I mean, we live in the Midwest as part of our genetic code at this point.
Don't know what you're talking about.
There it is. Bring it down in Tom. That's what.
If I spoke like my mother, when I was young, I said, "Wow, that accent sucks." I'm going to try to not sound like that as much as possible. Yep. I know it slips out, but I've got to tell you, I definitely don't have that. It's like a near Uber accent. And I was just like, close. I was like, nope.
It's Uber adjacent. Absolutely.
It's all extended vowels. I'm like, all right, I'm going to pretend like I can talk like the dude on TV.
Exactly.
The American accent,
Big old strong American accent.
So we can wrap up this story. What do you guys think happens? Do you think there is a chance that Bobby gets ousted?
Yeah.
Does he remain?
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
I think it's like a sooner rather than later. I think they're extending this so that he can save face, because I know that he's probably buddies with this board of directors.
They are. Absolutely.
But they're trying to figure out a way that he can gracefully dive rather than belly flop. And it's just not going to happen either way. He's toxic now. I think especially if they're a company based on how they advertise to people and who buys their games. Like, I mean, you watch any fucking trailer for an Activision Blizzard thing and you're just like, fuck, you're just trying way too hard, you fuckers. And
I can't tell. They took the Activision logo off of all the commercials, so I can never tell what games, who made it.
Every time I see the Blizzard logo, I'm like, ugh. Magic and Tracer, the chick who shoots guns.
The chick from Pornhub?
The chick from Pornhub, yeah.
All right. Yeah. They made her in a game? All right.
Yeah, man. Have you seen her scissor? She's real good at it.
Right. Joey, what do you think? Is Bobby gone?
I'm in agreement completely. I think he's gone, and for the reasons that we've been ruminating on, I think it doesn't really matter either way to them in some way, and they'll live long and prosper without him. So we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. But I do think it is a market change for the company, and I do think that it brings awareness to things. And I'm glad that you guys discussed this issue in such granularity, because I fucking there's nothing I hate more than people who say that the video games aren't politics thing. That is one of my least favorite things.
It's so stupid to say that.
People don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Art is politics at the end of the day too. It's all about ideas, and you can't not express ideas and also be on the fence. Yeah. Otherwise you're not expressing anything. You can make art that really tries to toe that line, but someone is going to misinterpret something done, and it's always going to be I'm the person who's I don't care if people get offended by what I say or what I do. You're welcome not to listen to me.
Same.
That's right.
You don't have to be here.
Thank God your editor does.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Doesn't apply to them.
I see. Well, but at the same time, it's kind of this thought of, I don't go out in the world expecting things to be catered to me. I don't expect to like everything I see, or to feel like I belong everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And
I vouch for you.
And I know you try. You try. You got me into MGC. They said, I don't know. He made a lot of threats to the last president.
Right.
But I think that we are living in kind of a society that we're getting a little too sensitive for the things that don't matter, and we're not paying more attention to shit like this that actually does.
Agreed.
And there are actual things we can do to make the world a more inclusive and kind and nice place.
Yeah, give the world a Coke.
Like fucking these people over very hardcore.
Or that.
Instead of being worried about what the world is going to do for you. I don't know. Maybe I got off on a high horse there.
It's all right. This Dylan rant has been brought to you by American Family Insurance.
There it is. There it's circling.
I can hear the crowd now.
American Family, go fuck yourself.
And that some algorithm just picked up on that and demonetized this episode. Because it thought that you were using the music and the jingle.
I mean, we're demonetized.
Yeah. So
damn it. Fucking Barry Manilow's.
I can't wait till we're monetized.
What's
Tom's going to have to step down, basically. That's what's going to happen.
Yes. I'm sorry, guys. So that's been our Activision talk. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. This should be an interesting week. I also am on the side of, I think he's gone at some point. I totally believe what you said, that they're trying to figure out a way to make him exit gracefully,
or let him.
Yeah.
I believe the term is let him, because it's got to be like the boys club. It's got to be like, well, yeah, you fucked up, Joe Kennedy.
I would love if Sony and Microsoft contacted Activision. I would love to see what those correspondences say.
I imagine that behind closed doors, it's a lot of swearing.
Yeah. I mean, even...
It's like, what, you want to put your shit on our platform?
Even performative stuff like delisting their games in the interim, I think would speak volumes. It'd get the capital G gamers to listen.
It would, gamers and shareholders.
Well, it's got to be
people
in their
who
contract.
don't give a shit about games but own stock.
Here's a question.
Like, what? We can't sell the product that makes us fucking money?
Here's a question. Do we know the terms of service for a person putting their stuff onto the Microsoft or PlayStation
I couldn't tell you
could this
detail,
be this has to be, their lawyers have to be so good that there's got to be a clause about this specifically. Like, we can take you off for reasons regarding this, and this if found to be in like within reason. There's got to be something like that.
Think
because if you start affecting the company can remove your product.
Yeah.
So I'd be anxious to see that, because
and if there's not, they can spin it.
That's a good question for a developer. If we ever get an interview, I do want to know that. I'm actually going to write that down.
I think a touchstone for that is the Cyberpunk thing, where Cyberpunk was delisted. Yeah. But my guess is that CD Projekt Red actually asked the companies, or I think it was just Sony. I don't remember if Microsoft delisted it, but I'm pretty sure CD Projekt Red themselves asked for the product to be delisted. It wasn't the other way around. So I don't know.
Well, I played the day one no patch, so it actually wasn't. I honestly didn't think it was as bad as people say, but it was pretty fucking.
The weird. Novelty of it, I'm sad. I kind of missed it, honestly. Same. I'm sad. I'm missing the GTA.
I borrowed his copy.
Yes, I still have my copy. I'm still waiting for the next gen patch. Anywho, stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have an update, and more shit will come out about this story. But, let's move on. We got a couple more stories here. Are we on board for this? Joey, are you okay?
I'm still reeling from having to step down from Activision Blizzard. I'm sorry. Okay. It's me. I'm Bobby Kotick.
Oh!
The M. Night Shyamalan twist you've all been waiting for.
You're like a 57-year-old man. You look pretty good for your age, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I can't wait for to see the biopic starring Jonah Hill, because I think they have.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Resemblance there.
Did you know he's playing Jerry Garcia?
I saw that.
He actually looks pretty good as Jerry Garcia.
I did not see that.
I saw the photo. It was pretty good.
Hey, whatever. I'm down to see that. Yeah. Grateful Dead. They're a band.
They're certainly a band.
They will get by. Square Enix. You guys know this company, Square Enix? All these companies with like two companies in the name. Activision Blizzard, Square Enix. So Square Enix management is once again throwing Crystal Dynamics under the bus, or over the airship, by stating that they were, quote, unhappy with Marvel's Avengers.
Tom, the helicarrier.
Sorry. So Square was unhappy with Marvel's Avengers, and that it did not sell as much as it would have liked. But despite the company drawing criticism from the gaming community for attempting to shoehorn such a game as Marvel Avengers into a, quote, game as a service model, Square Enix instead defended that decision and implied that the fault lay with Crystal Dynamics by stating, Square needs to select game designs that mesh with the unique attributes and tastes of our studios and development teams. Basically saying
Hold the fuck on.
Okay, go ahead.
Have you played it, Joey?
It's right here. I got it for $5, but I have not.
Okay.
Really?
You played
No, I have
then?
not.
Oh, okay.
I've heard not bad things. We trashed it during E3.
It looked like shit. I'll be honest. It looked like shit. Even the first trailer that they unveiled, I was like, this looks bad. Like, and I know that's superficial and like whatever. I try not to judge a game before I play it, but like,
we try not to either, except when we do a podcast where we're contractually obligated to have hot takes. But it was not good.
So I hate it. I hated the writing because, first of all, if you make a comic book movie and it's not written like a comic book, I'm already just like, go get yourself fucked. And then you get so used to seeing these characters on screen being portrayed by certain people and seeing like the knockoff, like instead of Oreos, it's fucking like cream cookies. There's a cream cookie
Aldi
version
brand
of like,
the President's Choice Avengers.
And I should
you
be
just
the
didn't
person.
like Star-Lord's haircut. Let's be honest.
Wait, you're talking about Guardians or are you talking about Avengers? We're talking about Avengers right now. That's what they're talking about.
You're right. Avengers. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't like. I'm never going to play this Guardians game. I just don't give a shit. But also, like, I played the game. I played through Marvel's Avengers, the full original campaign. I played through it, and there was some compelling stuff to it. And honestly, some of those characters control very well. The game itself is fun, but it is the loot box shit that turned me off. It is literally you you get out into these open plains, and then it's kind of a beat 'em up. It's like a modern beat 'em up with a lot of really great kind of control schemes and things that you can combo. It's great. But then you're constantly having to sort through shit that you picked up on the ground, going like the Borderlands, like this gun does this, and a +5 to fire here, and a +4 to skull cracking here. God. And I'm just like, I don't know, auto sort. Like if you're providing items in your games, the items have to be meaningful. They should just automatically be meaningful. That's what turned me off about Borderlands. I know some people were really into like the min-maxing. I could not do it for the life of me because I'd rather just be playing the game instead of sorting through menus.
There's like a menu economics.
That's like a game in itself.
That's a meme on my stream is like something economics because I start talking about that shit like annoyingly. Did you guys play Marvel Ultimate Alliance though?
I did.
I think
I love.
Yeah,
Marvel
exactly, because that
Ultimate
does the same thing, but it does it so much more fun. I think anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I've always been like when X-Men Legends came out, I was over the moon because I'm like, finally a decent X-Men game that feels a little bit modern.
So good. It's Gauntlet with X-Men. It's so sick.
Yeah. And then the way you open up skill trees and stuff like that, and the way that it was co-op, I was immediately entranced by it. Whereas this Marvel's Avengers game, I'm like, yeah, that's Nolan North as Iron Man.
As Troy Baker as Iron Man.
Troy Baker's Captain America.
Okay, so I do think that like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance, especially the first game, could have worked as a games as a service model where like you get a new campaign, a new comic arc every couple months or something, or every month they drop one. Because that could be really cool.
Well, they tried.
And they can make it so it doesn't feel pay to win or whaling. It could just be like you can have the developers not crunch like crazy to try to get content out. It would be a nice thing to look forward to every month, but instead they did this like it reeks of bad of market research. I think that when Marvel's Avengers was like in its planning phases, they did a market test and a bunch of research on it, and I think Square in general is so boomery about their market research that these kind of projects always happen like this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're also so out of touch now about what their biggest fans want. Think about the last good Final Fantasy game that's new. I certainly fucking can't.
I like 15, but I see where you're going.
I think 15 was fine, but I played the original 15.
Yeah, I
didn't play where they improved stuff.
Yeah, that was
and I was rough. I was charmed enough, but I don't think they know what people want from
I mean,
games.
look at Final Fantasy Origin. Like, it's hilarious. It's like a meme.
It's funny. I know.
It is a meme, yeah.
Didn't Brad play it?
He played, yeah.
I played it. I played the demo. Both demos, actually.
Did you? What did you?
Dude, I like it.
Here's the question.
No, I did like it. The thing is that it has a lot of the problems that you were mentioning about Marvel's Avengers with like the loot. Did you play Neo?
You know what?
A little bit.
I tolerated it with Neo.
It's the same concept.
With Neo, what you're picking up in Neo is essentially different types of weapons for different types of situations. At the end of the day, gun goes bang bang, but sword and halberd and all these other things they do. And
Origin
things.
is that like, too. So, yeah. You know, like the weapon, maybe it's not as like differentiated as well as Neo is, but it is similar. And I do like the gameplay loop. It's just everything about it. The presentation is hilarious, dude. It's so bad.
So what I wanted to kind of bring back here with this story is, you know, basically it's Square saying that Crystal Dynamics' design is the root of the issue, not the fact that the company was insistent that they make the game as a service. And also using a studio like Crystal Dynamics, which is known for single player games.
Single player cinematic experiences.
What the fuck did you think was going to happen? Yeah. And I'm getting kind of worked up here because I'm
do you need the tissues?
I'm kind of sick of fucking Square using Crystal Dynamics as a whipping boy for poor financial performance when they're talking to their shareholders.
Let's be clear, it made a good amount of money. It's just not quite enough for them.
But they never bring
up
the fact.
If it were a movie, that would have been a success.
They never say, hey, we've been working on this fucking Final Fantasy game for 10 years, this Kingdom Hearts game for fucking 10 years, or maybe it's not even started, but we say we're working on it, and not even using that as a reason, like, maybe this is, this shit is costing us a lot of money, but this isn't the first time that they've used Crystal Dynamics as the whipping boy, because, was it back in 2014 or 2015?
Rise of the Tomb Raider. Square pegged that as a disappointment. This is when Final Fantasy 15 was, or was the Shadow
Versus and fucking been in development for,
or was it Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
I forgot which
it was
one.
Rise.
They all blend in.
Yeah.
So there's Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, which takes place in a mostly like snowy thing.
Yep.
And then there's one that takes place in the jungle called Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow was the third in the trilogy.
Which I hear is good. I never got around to it.
Same here. Yeah. But they called that a disappointment because it had only sold 4.5 million copies. And, which any other game that sells 4.5 million copies.
They think that they failed if they didn't create a Minecraft.
Yeah,
or
they're very sensitive to, I guess, like consumer loyalty, and they feel like when a game like Marvel's Avengers comes out, it hurts their brand's quality, And so I think it's less about numbers and more about like the fucking twisted perception and the results that they get. This is why I think that their market research team is run by a bunch of like stale, stinky boomers, because like there's no way that they're getting the results from this market research that they should. And a company as big as Square Enix definitely does that research.
Here's the one question they should be asking when they enter a room. How long have you been playing video games? What kind of video games do you like? Do you like RPGs? These are 3 questions that they could ask.
Yes.
Easy peasy. And do you like classic RPGs?
Do you like chocobos?
Do you like chocobos? Yes, I do.
You're hired.
But if they only understood, because I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask you guys, what is the one thing you hear about as a complaint towards Square Enix? What is the biggest thing?
They don't. I guess I don't know.
They don't make games
they used
like
to.
They
yes.
used to.
I'll give you that. But a lot of that is like kind of misguided too. It's.
I think it's misguided, but I think that there is a shred of truth there.
Agreed.
Because I don't even think that the Final Fantasy games are flawless masterpieces, even like the ones that everyone praises.
The good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about that. When they talk about they're not doing what they used to do. They're not actually talking about the video game. They're not talking about the gameplay or even like that. It's the tone. It's the spirit that they used to have.
You're not making me feel like the kid I was.
Yeah, but see,
it's not even about feeling like a kid. It's about feeling like you understand what a good game is in terms of like what you're presenting.
I mean, even 15. Yeah. That's like exact criticism I leverage against 15, because like, I mean, I like it, but there are so many questionable, hilarious presentation choices that underscore exactly what you just said, like in it, for sure.
Yeah.
I probably would have liked it more if they didn't even have the Final Fantasy 15 or the Final Fantasy name attached to it.
I probably would have liked it better. But if you don't show off at least one behemoth, a few flans. I mean, people are gonna riot.
Baby. It's all about the flans.
I love flans.
Flans. Oh my gosh.
Only flans?
Only flans. There you go. Hey!
Sorry. I'm sorry.
That was good.
There's a fetish out there, probably.
So Crystal Dynamics is currently assisting the Initiative, which is a Microsoft game studio, with the reboot of Perfect Dark. So it's kind of an odd deal, considering Square's essentially loaning out one of their first party studios to assist a competitor.
It makes sense though if they did Tomb Raider. If you want to do a believable story about Joanna Dark, I'm pro. I mean, Crystal Dynamics has been very uneven, but I'm pro. I mean, Gex, come on,
I'm Gex to the core too.
You just like Dana. You just like Dana Cool.
Hey, Jungle Boogie. Where'd you get that? I just want to see them with a company that appreciates them and loves them. So I'm hoping that maybe Microsoft just says, maybe we'll take these guys from you. You obviously.
Microsoft is on the cusp of because they've been throwing around a lot of money with developers. And they're on this cusp of, getting more recognition and critical acclaim than ever, or they could just waste a bunch of money trying to do this kind of stuff. Like they buying Bethesda,
it is
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you know who's not getting money from me right now? Sony. Do you know who's still getting my fucking money? Microsoft.
I knew it was coming.
There you go. This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Game Pass.
I will kiss the ring of the Microsoft king because of Game Pass. I have saved so much money, played a ton of new interesting indie games that I would have dropped $20 on at a time, and Sony doesn't offer me anything. They're like, unless you're paying for it,
Nathan Drake.
You get what we. I don't fucking
Destruction
care about Nathan Drake. Kratos, yeah.
You can play it on PC now. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah.
Kratos, yeah, he's a character too. Like,
no, I mean,
I'm so compelled, and I just think that Microsoft is just proving that they understand what people actually want. They got. I don't know if it's in your notes.
Go
Elder Scrolls 6. Microsoft exclusive. Nope, neither have I. I saw one trailer that was like a landscape once.
Yes.
And
that is the rumor.
I was real compelled by it. I don't think it's a rumor. I think it's happening.
It was a veiled kind of like confirmation, I think. Yeah.
It makes so much sense, though.
Phil came out and said,
it's ours.
It's ours. We should probably put it on our platforms.
Now, that doesn't mean later down the line it's not going to come to PlayStation, whatever. Yeah. But Elder Scrolls and PlayStation don't have a good history together. So it makes kind of the most sense anyway that it's coming to a Microsoft system first. And I kind of expected that. Hell, I could expect it on like the Nintendo Switch successor before I can see it on a Sony.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo and Microsoft have been in talks a lot. Like Phil Spencer's like, yeah, we would love to put our shit on more Nintendo things. It'd probably be like the worst looking poor
streaming. It's the streaming thing, the cloud thing that they're doing.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yes. It actually would be.
They
cloud.
At least talk, and it was fun to watch them cast shade against Sony for not allowing crossplay, and then finally pressuring them to open up their platform.
I have so much to say about Game Pass that I don't want to derail the episode.
That's positive.
Both actually.
You can say whatever.
Because I think that Game Pass is great because I think it exactly for what you guys just said. But I think I have a slippery slope view on it. I think it leads to a lot of problems. I think it's something. It's like Netflix. When Netflix first started, it was great. It was or just not even Netflix, streaming services in general, and then it slowly became more and more dystopian. And I think there's a lot of could be factors, so that I'm always really cautious about. I also don't own an Xbox because I have a gaming PC. So for me to be like, I don't need it. But that's fine because Microsoft still gets my money.
There's Game Pass for PC.
I know. That's what I mean. So I could use that. But
okay.
Like usually for, I think I've been playing a lot of third parties on PS5 for whatever reason.
That's fine. And honestly, there is this idea of curation and quality control, and for it being what it is for the price. Now, if I start getting price increases on this thing,
which you will,
then maybe I'll reconsider. I will.
But I think it'll still be
but
worth it.
I don't think it'll be nearly.
Yeah,
as bad.
I don't think it'll ever be a question of whether or not it's worth it. At least like for the consumer. Yeah. But I think if your prime factor is
economical,
it's not my prime factor, but
I'm saying
the one
if it
that speaks the most.
Yes, then there's one of the best deals. But I totally get what you're saying too, Joey. Like, there has to be some curative.
I think so far they've done a very good job though of they do throw out some clunkers on there, but all you have to. It literally takes you 5 seconds of looking at that and going like, I should look up the Metacritic on this or something. And then going to yourself, well, that's fucking not for me. But then you see like a big name title hanging out in there, and you could have dropped $60 on this.
And I think once all the 8,000 studios that Microsoft has bought the last year, once they start putting out their AAA first party titles.
Can you even imagine?
Then once that sees fruition, then, I think maybe you'll see a lot less of the, you just look at the indie games, but a lot less of them as
Microsoft is at a huge turning point as a publisher and a developer. And it's going to be really cool to see what happens from here. And I'm stoked for it because 360 won my vote hands down for that gen. I had an original Xbox. I loved it. Kind of skipped to one, but I almost skipped the PS4. It was Bloodborne that got me.
There you go. That'll do it.
Yeah, that works. I have an Xbox One, and I mostly bought it to play like rare games or whatever. And now it's just a Game Pass machine. I don't have to think about it though. I don't have to I don't even have to care. It's literally like, oh, that game came out. Like I'll be talking to someone and they'll be like, well, did you buy it? And I'm like, I don't have to fucking buy it. What are you talking about? It's like, my buddy, a friend was just like, I hear that new racing game you were talking about came out. And I'm like, yeah. Forza Horizon 5? He's like, did you buy it? I'm like, no. He's like, well, you just said we could go back to your place and play it. I'm like, yeah, we can.
I just have to go back to my place.
It's just not permanent. Yeah. It's just not permanent.
All right. So anyways, Crystal Dynamics, you deserve better. God bless all of you. We believe in you. At least
they do a good job with polish. They do well with story.
Stop letting daddy beat up on you.
Yeah. That really sucks. I don't think they had a choice.
Let's, last thing here. Forget hot coffee. How about a hot mess? Rockstar offers free games as an apology for the
GTA funny,
trilogy.
dude.
Owners. Sorry, that was horrible.
What kind of internal thing had to go on to where they saw the models that they fucked with?
So yeah, why don't you give a synopsis of why they would give out free games for the recently released GTA Trilogy?
So they hired a mobile games company to quote unquote remaster their original PS2 trilogy, which are the games that everyone reveres, anyone who's a millennial especially.
Yeah.
That was their big, I was a teen.
Grand Theft Auto 3, man.
Influential.
Yep.
It matches SMT3 Nocturne for vibe. I'm just saying.
Yep. We'll be talking about SMT. It was just a huge fucking mess. Characters looked, how do I say this without offending enough people?
Enough people?
Yeah.
It's a weird way to phrase it, but
I just want to offend as many as possible. Yeah.
They looked like dopey dipshit Muppets. The gameplay apparently was glitched to fucking hell. It didn't even run the same way.
Yes.
Apparently the frame rate issues.
Yeah. Each game is kind of screwed, but to varying degrees. I'll talk a little bit about GTA San Andreas.
You played
I have been playing
San Andreas. Okay.
Yes.
Because I looked at some of these characters and I could not help but laugh.
Next should not be able to bend the way that the
dude, I have to say,
also they lost most of their
music.
Oh,
that's but I mean, what could you
go ahead.
That's the one thing I kind of expected. I didn't expect it to be a mess, but those videos of the glitches had me howling. They're so funny, dude.
It's like the car growing.
The car growing. It's crazy. Yeah. So, anyways,
so good.
The GTA Definitive versions are fucked. And if you want to watch the Digital Foundry videos on YouTube, if you really want to go deep into how much they suck compared to the originals, how can the PS2 version can look better than the quote unquote remastered version?
Well, those games were made with care. At a certain point.
Yes. And actually had all the features that were, programmed into the game. So also marring the whole experience is the people who bought the trilogy through Rockstar's app and launcher on the PC were unable to play the games until days after release.
What?
Yeah. Because rumoredly Rockstar forgot to remove files that weren't supposed to be in the game. So music, I guess there were music files potentially there that they did not take out before they set it up to be downloaded and released.
That's wild.
So
that is so weird.
Yeah. But Rockstar has not confirmed that reason, but there was a lot of internal talk.
Did they subcontract? They had to have subcontracted to another company.
They did. I don't have the name of the company here, but they also, this company, I think they came out and said they needed more time in the oven, but they also utilized AI, they poured all the games into the Unreal Engine, and I think they used some AI technique that would that assisted them with trying to just remaster assets or bring them up to a higher
that happens
resolution.
a lot now.
Yeah, and it totally screwed up a lot of the textures. They didn't resemble what the originals were. So they're your free games. If you bought the GTA Definitive Trilogy, they are now giving you the original trilogy for free to tide you over. But they had removed George Lucas'd the original versions on the PC. So they removed all the original trilogy. So you couldn't even download that after this happened.
I wish Square Enix would do that with the Pixel remasters for Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Fucking Pixel remasters. But yeah, I'll talk about GTA San Andreas in a little bit. I think that's all I got for news, guys, unless you guys have anything you want to add.
I can't honestly think of anything.
There were a few more stories, but
I had some work stuff that I really had to focus on during these weeks. I did end up playing a lot of games though, so
right on.
I can definitely talk about those.
All right, Joey, how about you? Any
I guess there's the news about the future of Yakuza games, trying to do something. It seems like they're not going to do another Judgment game because of the producers and whatever, and then it looks like they're targeting stuff. Yeah, I've yet to get into that series, but I'm excited to do so next year when I have some time to do
really? Yeah. Have you played any of
2 hours of Zero,
or?
and I really liked it, and I was like, oh, I'm stoked to do this.
Zero gets better as it goes on.
Yeah, Zero's really good. Like a Dragon. I loved Like a Dragon.
I did not like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon.
I thought that eventually that combat was very shallow and boring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No,
I even got far enough to get where you can change jobs and stuff. Yeah. Which is actually quite far into.
Are you a Dragon Quest fan?
Extremely long story.
Okay, interesting.
As insofar as I really like some of them, and some of them I'm like, I guess I can play this. Yeah. Dragon Quest. Yeah. I like 11's my favorite. But I think that game is kind of a masterpiece.
Yeah. So what is the future of the Yakuza games?
That's to be determined. It looks like they're trying to do more of spin-off stuff.
Sure. I like Judgment. I haven't played Lost Judgment, but I really like Judgment.
You did play that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do recall that you really enjoyed it. I hear they improved a lot of things in this. This is all conjecture though. I haven't touched it.
That's like the version if you want to keep it seemed like that was a trajectory where they actually keep the real-time combat and then the beat-em-ups. Main series is going to go RPG.
Yeah.
But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I love Ichiban. Ichiban's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
Now, but
I like your whole part. I like the whole party in
they're all very charming.
Yes. Yeah. Really cool. All right. Well, everybody, that's been the news. We're going to take a quick break. So listen to these awesome shows from the Greenlit Podcast Network, and we'll be right back with what we're playing. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be hot.
Yeah. Including some fun Metroid spoilers. We will tell you when we're doing them though. So.
Yes. All right. We'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Fans of video games, history, or video game history will definitely want to listen to Retronauts. Each week, Bob Mackey and myself, that's Jeremy Parrish, dive into the stories behind the greatest games of the past and the history behind the hits of today. Check us out every Monday on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Dunn, and I'm inviting you to listen to Our 3 Cents, a weekly podcast where myself and two of my very best gaming chums are counting down our top 100 favourite video games of all time. For all the episodes and information, check out our website, www.our3cents.co.uk.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Hair of the Dogcast, episode 103. It's great to be back here with my boy Dylan and new best friend Joey. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're going to get into what we're playing. And I thought we'd start off, since we all played through Metroid Dread. Mm-hmm. This is the first time we've been able to convene to actually talk about it.
Metroid 5 Dread, as I like to call it.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. You know what? You're off the fucking podcast.
Bye-bye.
That was my favorite actually, I've heard in a while. That was good. I liked it. Big fan.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to mansplain a little. To Tom.
Manspread over to Tom. That's.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do.
I whipped out my video game dick.
Speaking of fives, I can't talk
There were so many fives that came out.
The year of the five.
So many. I would like to do a 5-minute spoiler talk. We're going to count down 5 minutes. So listeners, if you don't want to be spoiled by our Metroid Dread rapid fire talk, just go ahead.
To be clear, this is also a game that if you got spoiled to it, it is not that crazy.
It's not.
It's not.
Some people are triggered by that.
know.
So just go ahead and fast forward about 5 minutes from now. I'm going to set the timer. We can keep talking after the 5 minutes, but get all the spoilers out within the 5 minutes.
Sure.
So, and here we go. Starting now, 5 minutes.
I really expected.
All right.
Sorry,
so
go ahead.
what did you
I'm
guys?
sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, go for it. No.
5 minutes of like.
I was literally just going to make a joke about how. Oh,
yeah. No, that was sick though. That was so good. That was so
dope.
good.
That was that. I was like, what? She's like, don't worry, I'll end this. I'm like, huh?
All right, Joey, what do you have to say?
I fully expected. What's the dude's name? The Chozo guy. The bad dude who's dead. Yeah.
Raven.
I expected him to be Ridley. I was fully expecting that. And
you expected him to be.
You get
because
Craig. Where's
also,
Ridley? I thought Ridley was gonna come
and this
back.
is my fan theory, my secret theory. I thought that like because Ridley doesn't look like anything else in the Metroid universe, like he was a consciousness or something transferred to. He was like originally a Chozo and then became a space dragon. That was.
Oh, that's actually
and I think that would be sick because it would explain how he was able to get resurrected so many times, and like.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, that's a pretty good theory.
Wow, actually.
Will there be a Metroid 6
No,
with
this
Ridley?
This is the finale. Now, it's going to take a different form after this. They literally said it's the last. Well, Prime 4, there are theories as to what they're
I don't think it's Prime 4 anymore.
Anyways.
I think it... Yeah, I think it's a different game now.
I think it's going to be a first-person Metroid, though. I think it's going to be a first-person Metroid.
Yes, but it won't be
better
like
be.
the fourth
It better
game,
be.
or maybe loosely.
It's
the fourth
cachet.
game.
3 minutes, guys. 3.5 minutes.
Okay, so we got to talk about...
So let me say, I do think there are too many power-ups. I felt like I was at...
I thought it was
I felt I was
perfect.
at Grandma's house. Like,
Just keep feeding you.
Grandma's just constantly offering me things. Like, oh, you done with that glass of Kool-Aid? Here's another glass of Kool-Aid. Oh, you got a morph bomb? Looks like you're kind of done using that morph bomb. Here's another morph bomb that does something else. Oh, you're not done with... you're almost done with that morph bomb? Let me give you this other fucking morph bomb. How about another arm cannon power-up? And another arm
Damn, I
cannon.
just heard Tom's entire
it was
vocal
great.
scale during that.
You didn't hear his falsetto yet.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed like they were compensating a little bit too much with the power-ups to extend
I don't think
the
that's
game.
a spoiler, though. I think that's a valid thing you could just talk about.
No, I just don't want
as
to
a review.
yuck anyone's yum here during this time. But anyway, what do you guys think? Too many power-ups?
I thought the amount of power-ups got a little crazy at one point, but I will say that I kind of enjoyed that because I don't know how these fucking people did it, but the economy of the controller for this game is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's packed
But
to
you
the
can't
brim.
remap.
And if they were
sucks.
bad at
You
it,
hate that.
you can't remap.
No, you can't. And a lot of the...
I'm a firm believer in
No,
learn
not
the way
in
the
not in
developers want.
2021. No way.
I am. I played Super Smash Brothers Brawl with a Wii.
I am happy that they just kept glomming on all your arm cannon power-ups to the... They didn't make you switch between fucking phase beams and
No,
ice beams
that
and
to
everything.
me,
You know,
that's
they're
a
all the
negative.
same. They're all the same.
I don't like how, as the game
like that a
progressed
lot,
too,
actually,
and the
yeah.
bosses got more difficult, which was awesome. I think that like they could have really used a lot of really cool
Actual
beam stuff
challenges.
for the bosses, and like the way. How did you guys feel about the final boss? Actually, because this is a contentious subject.
I wanted to blow my brains out.
Yeah,
but-
so the final two bosses were a significant difficulty
Fucking
spike
loved
for
it.
me.
That final
least for me
boss
as
is like
well.
one of my favorite
And-
bosses. Probably one of the top 3 Nintendo bosses.
It's
Period.
really cool.
Hard stop.
Really?
So good. It's like a Mega Man
really
X
cool.
boss. It's
Yeah.
dope. It's so fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. That Elite Chozo Sozer that was before him for some reason just fucking
You know what? Because you don't
just
realize you're hitting
stopped
him.
me so
That's the
much.
problem. Like, yeah, there's not
There's
like
not enough
the
telegraphing of
hit
that, yeah.
feedback is not high. Even though the storm missile fucks everything up, it absolutely destroys everything.
Oh yeah, you just have to get enough space between you and them.
But I did think there's enough difficulty spike where I was really, really, really enjoying the game up until that point where I'm just like, are you kidding me?
It's a final
This is what
boss.
it's gonna be.
it feels good.
I know, but the game had a good like a good curve leading up to that point.
They really wanted you to find the little shit.
But then you have to use every move in your fucking
that's
toolbox.
supposed to be your
that I haven't been really using up to that point.
That's why I wish there were more bosses like that.
I used phase shift
is
all the
sick.
time,
Yeah,
Tom. That was so. It made it Hollow Knight for me. It literally I'm like, oh, this is a Hollow Knight move.
5 seconds.
Well, I can't believe Samus is a woman injecting politics into video games once again.
No.
Did you get? Oh, that must be
Joey,
the 100% ending.
Joey, I got to tell you, I met Samus at MGC. It's actually a
Interesting.
dude.
He is not a woman. But
Maybe convincing in a wig. I don't know if they're passing, but you know what? They worked for me.
So welcome back, everybody. If you jumped ahead, this has been 5 minutes. We got out all of our Metroid Dread
Honestly.
talk. But non-spoiler wise, I really did enjoy the game.
It's wonderful. It is in my top 5.
It may have been.
It's very close to
it
the
was
tip.
really contending for my game of the year until until the end. And
Okay, I can appreciate that though.
Dinged it a little bit, but it's still a huge recommend for me. I mean, those
It's
games
top
are just
3
my
for
fucking,
me for this year
so
for sure.
my jam.
I think Returnal wins though. Sorry, Metroid.
Returnal?
Returnal, people love Returnal. I want to play it, but I can't get a PlayStation 5.
It. I'm sorry, Dylan.
It's fine. Once I get my first bonuses for my job, I'll fucking try to find one. No, I really enjoyed it. I immediately felt the magic. At first, I was turned off by the visuals of this because it is a little.
Yep.
It's lacking a bit of the charm.
Switch Pro.
It's
Switch Pro.
It's
I
not
want
even
HDR,
just that.
baby.
It's not even just that. It is the design of the world around. And there's an atmosphere that it was missing at first. The further I got into it, though, the more I kind of gelled with it, and I saw what they were going for. Much in the way that Samus's suit tends to evolve throughout the series. Like you can tell they were going for more of like this clean, like pristine. You're like in this like Chozo homeworld base area, and it's supposed to be highly technological and strange and almost like sterile. Because the Emmys are weirdly compelling as a design.
I like that aspect.
I love
Worst part of the
Emmys.
game.
Yeah.
Now this is
This
You think
I think
so?
the Emmy design was sick. This section,
Yeah.
I have one of the amiibos. It's
and I ended up with 2. If you can see it, I don't know how that happened. Yeah,
oh, you got 2 sets of them? Nice.
because they were really hard to get, and then they were
alright.
easy to get. And I accidentally, I managed to
Yeah,
get 2.
me too.
But, so my problem with the Emmys, I think the design is cool. The lore is cool. How they were designed to help you, and then were basically like reprogrammed or whatever. And that's not a spoiler. That's like said in the first like 5 minutes of the game, basically. But I think that there's no stakes with them because you spawn right outside the door. It doesn't actually make it scary because there's no stakes. I think
it still scares
there
people.
are times, sure, but like I think there's the checkpoint system in that game. I think it's a great quality of life feature, but it takes away a lot of what made Metroid scary.
Stakes.
And I think that designing the game around that was almost a mistake.
Yeah.
I feel like the Emmys could have had more dynamic encounters, or have it be something that like follows you more through the level when you didn't know it was coming. And
yes.
but like the thing is that there's just too many things to deal with them. It's always the most annoying part of the game to me. And I've played through it 3 times now.
You know,
I get the annoying part. I don't know. I did like that sense of dread with the encounters. You know, that's kind of where it comes from. And
you knew when you were entering I think I get what you're saying. You know when you're entering a space with an Emmy.
Yes.
Because they can only, and they have their spaces. And I think doing that on purpose was actually a good idea. I think it was a good idea because they had to walk the line with this new idea and implementing this, because I think a lot of people would have been turned off if they're literally just like hunting you through the entire thing.
Yeah.
To have that level of stress be a constant might be too much for an average player. I would have liked it. I would have been fine with it. But for most people, it's just like, you didn't get into this for a
compare that to Fusion and the SAS.
Expectations
and the SAS only has like 2.5 sections, right? In Fusion. And they're terrifying because that thing can, like, you know, like,
oh yeah.
And there's
It's got all your power-ups.
And the enemies don't feel like that.
Yeah.
They feel scary because they could kill you, but like it just because of the stakes, because of the atmosphere, it never feels scary to me.
Well, let's break down the encounter with these Emmys, and what I found out pretty quick is it's learning how to cheese them the right way. That is almost the game function. You just have to get enough space between you and the Emmy to tilt your analog stick just enough to make sure that you're hitting them in the face.
Yeah, you got to get the face.
And then finally unleashing that final blast, which takes them down. The first few encounters, I was afraid.
Yeah, same.
As time went on, though, I'm like, I need to get up to this.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's space up here, and I know that it's going to crawl in this direction, and I can just annihilate it even before it gets halfway to me from this section. And that part, after a while, I enjoyed it not as like a scary thing that I was supposed to avoid, but I started appreciating them as an environmental
and that's what they
puzzle.
Are. Ultimately,
like an
what they are.
Environmental puzzle. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I thought that aspect of them really works because
you got to find the right spot where you have enough runway to blast ahead.
It forces you to consider your environment in a way that a lot of these games don't make you do, and especially in Metroidvanias. Or I heard on a podcast someone wanted to start calling them corner scratchers.
I heard Castleroid, and I wanted to throw
up. That was me.
That's been a meme also on my
That's
stream.
Actually pretty good. I'm going to call it Castleroid.
Nice.
But I thought these games are all about exploration, and it's less about
this
combat.
Is very combat.
Even though this one did such a good job at bringing in the combat one.
Very combat heavy.
Because normally
but
it's
it felt
not.
Good.
Oh yeah. But these games for the most part are about like, what can I find around this corner? What part should I go to first? You're looking at the map and you're trying to, I'm like, I can break apart this wall. I can do this. And I think one of the things that really turned people off about this is that they had the hidden walls with no telegraphing of the hidden walls. Whereas I think older gamers are kind of used to that, where you kind of have to just like shoot everything.
Yep.
Or use your power bomb in every room. I think some people really got stuck on this.
There's leading things in the game that shows. Yeah. And I think that like people don't like to pay attention, and they don't like, and I can tell that the developers, Mercury Steam, definitely took a lot from Super Metroid. They saw that that famous example of the little animals teaching you how to wall jump and stuff. They saw that and they tried to apply that in a modern setting, but I do agree that sometimes it's not as clear as it could be, but also like that's kind of the point of Metroid. It's to always explore and to shoot walls.
Yep.
So I see both sides for sure.
I enjoyed being lost in this game, to be honest with you. For the most part, it got a little old, but finally I got myself unstuck. But there was one power up that I had that I didn't even know I had. Kind of going back to the
which one?
The Shine Spark.
It teaches you about that game, very vaguely.
Yeah, I missed it because usually when you get a power up in this game, you're in a room where you have to use that power up to get out. So it forces you to use it. I don't recall ever being shown or being put in a situation where I had to use the Shine Spark to progress. So the whole game I'm going through and seeing these like energy tanks and missile tanks or missile power ups right next to the speed blocks, wondering like, oh, I must be, there must be a fucking power up I'm missing because there's no way I can get enough runway to like build up enough speed to.
It does teach you though.
Oh, so
it tells you.
It does. It does.
It tells you in the description. I'll be honest. Like I never knew I had that ability.
So you just have to build it up, and then you crouch, and then that absorbs it, and then you can do that.
Once I looked online, like,
it's in every Metroid.
That was in Super Metroid
since it was unveiled.
Yeah. Well, I did not pick up on that, so there you go.
No, and honestly, like even in Super Metroid, I remember the first time I
couldn't figure it out. I couldn't do it. I was too stupid and little.
It's in the same way that wall jumping fucking sucks in Super Metroid. It's just like there's a weird timing, and you have to push the the D-pad in a certain way.
Right.
It's all about finesse, and that's one of the things that this game actually does quite well in a lot of other ways, because Samus is so much faster, and the agility with which she moves through the field. I was just like, holy fuck, I'm going to be done with this game in like 5 minutes. The map ended up being a lot bigger than I thought.
Very big, yeah.
It's not a long experience, but none of these really are.
It's like maybe a little bit longer than. It's longer than Fusion for sure. It's about as long as Super is in your first run. Oh well, the thing is that Dread is a lot more streamlined, so it feels not as long. Yeah, basically.
It's not making it a little more streamlined.
Yeah,
and
user friendly. I do like the fact that you could mark certain blocks on the map, and it would call them out to you like that. Throughout the worlds. That was very handy. So, all right, well, let's move on from Metroid Dread. I think we're all pretty positive on that one.
0 out of 10.
What else are we playing? Yeah.
I just
Joy,
finished my second playthrough of SMT5, and I'm playing through the whole...
Second?
Joy's an animal. He's got 103 103 platinums. Is that something? Whatever. No, it's fine. I have 0.
I'm 6 hours into SMT5.
Again, I did the same thing, and you can tag the FBI on Twitter, but I downloaded the ROM when it leaked, and then I have it physically. Oh. But like, yeah. My thing is like...
Whatever.
Right, exactly. That's how I feel. And it's not like I was going to steal it or whatever. And I also replayed it so I could fight the Demi-Fiend in the DLC, because that's what I wanted to do. Sure. But, no, and that's not a spoiler. I mean, the thing is right there on the shop page. The Demi-Fiend DLC, it's right there. But yeah, that's...
I'll agree with you.
So I played through that, and now I'm going through a Mega 10 marathon. I finished the first Digital Devil Story games, and I'm on SMT1. So there we are.
Okay, so nice. I'm definitely a fan of the series as well as its spin-offs. I really wanted him to play 4.
I haven't played 4.
I think 4 is still the best Persona. 4 is the best Persona game, hands down. But played 5 first because it's the most modern. And then I found myself, I'm like, I'm going to try these older ones. And I tried 3, and I'm kind of like, yeah, this was a time and a place. It was a little esoteric for me. I loved 4. I played through that, and then I played through Apocalypse as well. I really enjoyed 4 though. The original 4 I just thought was like so interesting and dynamic. 5 I am finding to be fun. I'm a little, how do I say it? There's enough that's turning me off.
Yeah.
It's design choices. It might even just be that some of it feels a little too ancient. Some of it feels a little like, I'm like, there's no, it's lacking a certain dynamicism.
Yeah, I think that as a whole, like the exploration elements and the way it intertwines with combat is interesting, because combat is so easy to avoid in that game that it almost makes it that you're choosing one or the other. And in my mind, SMT is always about that integration of exploration with combat. And
right. Well, and you're supposed to be consistently recruiting demons, because the more you have at your disposal, the better fusions that you get. And this one is quite good at that. It's almost got like this sword and shield. It's like Pokemon Sword and Shield mixed with SMT, and which actually works here, and I actually don't think works in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, you see these demons out in the world, some of them are friendly, some of them are not. And you're going through this post-apocalyptic Tokyo, and I like the character design where his fingers
the
turn into a
Tokusatsu-esque.
I think that's fucking dope as shit.
I love it personally.
T2?
It's sick.
Kinda. I think it looks great. I would buy a figure of this guy. I think he's fantastic. And I mean, one thing you find pretty quick.
No, it's anemic. It's completely anemic.
Nothing in these games.
The way that the alignment choices played in this game like don't mean anything at all. And like,
no, they don't.
Right, and
whereas they did in other ones.
A lot of I'll tell you why this is the case. Atlas knew this was being developed for Switch. And whether or not this is going to end up being multi-platform remains to be seen. People hacked the source code and they saw that there was evidence of ports. But regardless of the fact, Nintendo definitely paid Atlas money to make this at least a timed exclusive. So the design impetus with SMT5 is, hey, we're releasing this on a console where this the collection game is a big thing, and this is a huge potential market for us. So the whole game was designed with this in mind. And you see that in the presentation. It's a lot brighter than most SMT. Yeah, it still has those darker undertones, but as a whole, it never fully engages in them. And that's a huge bummer.
Well, it's not even just that. It is the way that they're telling the story. The way it opens, I was so much like, holy fuck, this might as well just be a Persona game. Like, just the way that it starts. And another issue maybe I have with the story in general, and that I'm not being quite compelled by it, is I know a lot of games kind of break down to travel here, do task. But this one, it feels like the same plot.
It is.
That we've seen maybe about 4 billion times. It's literally going through post-apocalyptic Tokyo.
And there's no emergent storytelling. You know, like there's no like, oh, you found this dilapidated pillar. And in this pillar was this building in Tokyo. And maybe a very specific demon inhabits that. Like that could have been really cool. But instead it's kind of like, it's a really cool map. It's very well designed. The map and the exploration is awesome. It's...
The little corners and the way that the map always has like a little side route that you can go to find like a side quest or find maybe a new demon that you hadn't seen yet that you can try to recruit. I think that's the thing that's working. That's the thing that's
and the gameplay is fantastic in it. I think, but if you're looking for like an SMT experience that is like elevated, this isn't it. The gameplay is way up there. To me, the gameplay is like probably top 2 in the series, but like everything else is like, the music though. Fuck, the music absolutely rips. One of the best soundtracks is so good.
Oh, it is so dope. Yes, it's so good. I'm literally trying to find it on vinyl right now.
So as somebody who's like me, who's
play
only
SMT5.
familiar with Persona, knowing Persona is a spin-off of SMT, would somebody like me find things to like adjacent to Persona?
I think you would like it.
To me, I don't know much about these games. There's an alternate timeline where Tom skipped college back in the day to pick up Nocturne when that came out. But I did not day, and I never got the game, I never played it.
That's the Chaos ending
Tensei game
that we never got.
You're right. So somewhere out there, there's an alternate me.
As someone who knows a bit of your gaming tendencies, I think that this is it's a very in-depth RPG.
It's just
there is a lot of things.
All I know about this game is, or all I've heard, I think it's like demonic Pokemon.
It is a lot like demonic Pokemon, and it is a lot like Persona as well. But its battle systems have a bit more complexity to it, based solely on the fact that you're controlling 3 demons and yourself.
Okay,
and they're your party at any given time, but you can collect a lot more of these demons, swap them in and out in the middle of battle, and it's all about you not dying.
Okay.
It is a lot like the Pokemon, like you said, but there's a lot more going on even from the Persona standpoint, where there are stats, and how fusion works is a little more esoteric and strange. They have things called essences now, which I'm still trying to get my head around.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
How long has it been
6 years, 7 years.
It's been, Apocalypse. Apocalypse is the last one. That was 2015.
Okay.
Yes.
So is there like a decent tutorial in this game to bring you up?
I will say that SMT5 is designed to be accessible, but also a little like there's like this little gap there that they leave for the player to kind of discover themselves. And I actually think that that's great because it makes people more involved. Mm-hmm. It's like, but also it's kind of like, I fucking, God damn it, I can't believe I'm going to make this comparison. But the Souls games do this too because they don't tell you everything. They leave something up to you. I'm not comparing the difficulty or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of game design.
No. There are some battles.
You will die, and that's fine. Already. And if you've never played
remember to save because this is classic.
Oh,
gaming.
no autosaves, man.
But you have
no
a thing that
autosaves.
lets you
That's
get
off
back
my
to the
list,
save
man.
point
Fuck
at any point, so it completely trivializes that aspect. That's my biggest. Yeah.
It trivializes getting caught in like a field of monsters and having to deal with them. At the same point, though, it does impede your progress. I do think that's enough punishment in a lot of ways for a lot of people. I mean, 6 hours in or so from, however, does the story ramp up in a really interesting way?
That's the only aside I would say to anybody getting into this game. The story, just don't expect anything out of it. I would say don't expect anything out of SMT stories in general. It's more about the tone. But the problem is, I heard four is the only mainline I haven't played. I haven't played that or
You haven't played that one? It's all about like the world above and the world below, and up in the top world, there's like this medieval like society, and they're all they're all kind of samurais, and then they realize that they're living on top of a world that's already died, and when they go underground, they realize it's
anime.
Tokyo.
Oh.
That's not even a spoiler.
Yeah.
That's the first hour.
Charlton Heston.
And it's like, damn you all to hell.
You destroyed it all.
But that was actually like convincing. This one is more like, I'm just an ordinary, pretty schoolboy.
No, the game is purposely sparse, and it doesn't really give you a reason to care about it. Like it's cool. It's very style over substance in that regard. But I think that everything else elevates the experience and almost dismisses it. Just like if it's a series that you're interested in, I really think SMT5 is the game to start with. Mm-hmm.
I'll lend it to you, Tom.
The way in? Okay. That's good
I'll lend it to you because I haven't.
I'll try that out.
This is also another thing where you have to realize that Atlas really has become the niche RPG game maker. And I can't recommend this to everyone in the world at all, because some people are going to want to fucking bash their heads against a wall. I was even playing 3, which I've gotten halfway through. I've gone through all the difficult, like Matador. I went through that stupid Matador. Yeah.
No,
but that's not even halfway through the game. Yeah. I beat Matador. It's like a 5th, but like that's a story that means nothing. The controls are weird. It's one of those niche things, though, that either you find this kind of thing charming or you don't. Okay. And I actually think that if it's not made for you, or if you feel like it wasn't made for you, it probably wasn't made for you, because there are some hardcores that are going to absolutely flip their gourd over this game, and I do think it's on my Game of the Year list, at least a little.
So thumbs up for the right people. You give it a recommend.
I think not everything's for everyone, but this one definitely, it's scratching an itch for me that always pops up once in a while. Monster collecting, cool visuals, just a fucking RPG-ass RPG with a lot of dumb little stats that you can fuck with.
Yeah,
perfect.
Buddy.
So you actually probably might like it, Tom.
I might. I don't know. What do you guys think about driving?
I love driving. I do it for a living, baby.
Anybody tried out that Forza Horizon 5?
I only like ridiculously
you haven't touched
unrealistic
it yet?
driving games. But like F-Zero, dude. F-Zero is like the best.
Let me be clear, Joey.
Well, it's racing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No spaceships that I know of. Yeah. Maybe a Warthog.
There is a Warthog from Halo in it. But I love this game.
It's really good. It is very, like, gameplay wise, you're not getting much anything different from 4, but this game just polishes everything from Forza Horizon 4, and it's beautiful. I think I told you, like, might be the best looking console game that I've played so far.
It is wonderful. Hold on. I actually wrote a plot synopsis.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say you wrote a poem about it.
It might as well be a poem.
Okay.
This might be a new segment called Dylan Describes.
You wrote up a plot synopsis?
I wrote up a synopsis.
Hey, we're going to go to a fucking car rave.
Car rave sounds about right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Forza Horizon 5 is the story of a person traveling to beautiful northern Mexico to trample on a wonderful history and its people with rad cars that do sick drifts. Did I see a Mexican person? Maybe. I was too busy looking at the chrome shine in the tropical sun. I drove a white Ford Bronco through the ruins of Tulum, a famous port for the ancient people of the area, all the while pretending to be O.J. Simpson on the run. Yes, yes, folks, it's true. Cargo vroom.
All right, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That was like poetry to me.
And I did drive a Ford Bronco through Tulum.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
And I like the way that they eschew reality and try to. I think it's cringy the way they kind of try to give you this power fantasy. I don't know about you, because every person I talk to is like anything full of shit.
Anytime somebody talks in that game, is fucking cringe.
I'm like, shut.
Any cutscene that I get, I'm just like,
shut up. I don't care, Javier. Go die. I just want to drive the car.
Yeah. We're going to gentrify this area of Mexico with our cars. Come on.
You drive through ancient ruins and nobody's really like, not the Mexican government or whatever is just like, yes, but the cars, they are very fast. Yeah.
Yes. So, Joey, have you played any of the Forza games? Are you not a driving? Okay. They are actually good for people who don't like driving games.
Okay. So
the Horizon.
The concept of like a driving game is cool to me. But just for context, I can't legally drive. I'm blind. So, like, I have no interest. I never had any. And also, my family owns auto shops, so it's like I have zero interest in cars. Period. Negative.
That's why I don't play Farming Simulator.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah.
So it would, but like, I like that concept. I just don't know if I'm old enough yet to want to play like an actual, like, low key driving.
Well,
you'll know it when you know it.
I think the one reason it pulls me in is so how unrealistic it is. The cars feel different, but they feel like
it's not like what is it? Fucking Burnout. Like
it's not Burnout either.
There's still
but it's got
one toe in realism.
It might as well be. There's like no boost button. That's like the separator.
Right.
The car is still going to be the car, and there are like class types for the car, and how you enter races. It can be a little confusing at times starting out, but
yes,
I think at the end of the day, it is probably my favorite racing game.
Right on.
So just quick.
I would still take Burnout.
No, I'm sorry. F-Zero
nothing
GX.
touches that to me.
That's still
that's
okay.
so good.
That's the best. That game, except for the single player, which is.
Do you want to talk about a hard single player?
Rally X isn't racing though. You just spurt out oil and
a hard single player. F-Zero GX. That story mode does not fuck around. It doesn't care about you.
I was 12 and I wanted to die. I was like, I'm in here for this shit.
Yeah. But yeah, Forza Horizon 5, that's my pretty much since it came out, the game I play right before I go to bed. It's usually the last game I play.
There's something deeply relaxing.
It is. And I'll tell you what, like I've heard this, I've heard other people say this too. Like the best part of, like the worst part of the game is actually the racing aspect. Like for me, just you can drive all over the fucking land and, do other events outside of racing. Like for me, like the racing's still fun. But it's all the other ancillary things that you can do that
like figuring out where like
get the billboards, baby.
The billboards, the secrets. I like the racing. There are some racing events I fucking hate, like street racing. Mm-hmm. I think street racing is dumb.
Yeah. But the ruins, like going through the ruins, like shit like that's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of great physics to this game.
To rivers.
The way that they reward you for like breaking shit. There are point systems, and you can rack up points by essentially like performing car combos, which would be like say that you did ultimate clean driving, but you still wrecked a lot of things. And you're not like interrupting other people, but you're certainly destroying the environment around you. You can actually rack up more points that way. There's a system where if a certain song plays on the radio, that you get a bonus to it.
Yeah. Bonus.
There is so much to like about this game. If there were ever 4 annoyed me in a lot of ways, this one actually removed a lot of the things I actually found annoying about 4. I always feel weird. I get real Indiana Jones about just like, I'm like, I don't want to drive through the ruins.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Chichen Itza and fuck some shit up. I'm not there to fuck shit up.
I want to revere this place as a cultural monument.
It was funny. I tried to do the route I took when I went on a tour to Tulum, and I rented a bike. And I tried to do the route, and it was literally like 10 feet.
All right.
I was like, oh yeah, they really shrunk this down. Shit. Whereas,
dude, I love
like
that concept of like going
like,
to Tokyo or something and be like, this is not like Persona 5. I don't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you guys are playing? We can do like a quick lightning round.
I was talking earlier. I've started redoing the Prime trilogy. I'm excited to play Echoes more than anything though, because that is a game I don't think I ever completed.
I haven't either. Got to the last Dark Samus.
I love the suit that Samus gets at the end. It's like a light suit. It's crazy looking and dope as hell. But in 3, I never finished either. So I played through 70% of each of these games at the very least. And I'm excited to actually finally finish them. I always get to the end of games and kind of quit out a lot.
Yeah. And you should.
I don't think that Tom, we said this on Super RPG Friends. I don't think everyone's goals for games should be just to beat them. It becomes like consumeristic that way. Like you're just knocking something out, just to do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to chug every beer in your fridge.
Yep.
It's like watching a Netflix show that everyone watched. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, every once in a while, I'll get hung up on it. Like, I got to beat this game before I will allow myself to play another game. You guys ever feel that sometimes? I did that with Dread, where I'm like, I have to beat this game.
I did the same thing with Dread. There are certain like seminal games that I will push through the end till, because, and especially for this podcast, like if it's going to become a talking point, I better know, because there are so many games where I'm just like, I'm just going to look up at what the ending was. I don't care. Like I love the game Spiritfarer.
Loved it.
It's wonderful. I never beat it. I got to a point where I'm like, I'm micromanaging too much shit.
Yeah.
And
that's the point of the game.
It kind of is. But I was also just like, what happens at the end? And I'm like, oh, that's touching. I cried watching a YouTube video. Yeah. What? Like, I think there's validity to that.
If you don't want to play a game, but you just want to see the end of it, I see no shame in just YouTubing it.
Yeah. I almost did that for 7 Remake because I got so fucking bored.
I think your experience as a whole and the way you discuss it is a little bit affected by that. Like if you're like, I played an hour of SMT4, which I did, but I didn't beat it. And then if I'm like talking about the mid game or demon selection in the game based off secondhand information, I don't think that's valid, because I didn't really play it. Yeah.
No, it's not. Well, like I can only comment then, and I get teased about it a lot. Like I'll be like, and this happens in the story. That's fucking dumb. I didn't like the game to begin with for the most part, blah, blah, blah. I found this interesting.
Right. Yeah, that's fair too.
In the second quarter of this, or the last quarter of this game. So I can make that judgment based on what the game is, and then I can judge the story afterward. Because to me, it's like, what more do you need to see of it? It's like, if you're eating a bad meal and you feel like throwing up the entire fucking time, it's not going to change the more you eat the meal. You're still going to want to throw up. You could choke it down. I got a friend who doesn't like broccoli. If I introduce broccoli, if I show him a picture of broccoli, he'll try and throw
broccoli
up.
Rules.
An asshole.
It's a good vegetable.
I love broccoli.
It's so good.
But I agree.
Okay.
But I think
you ever played broccoli?
That's a great game.
It's awesome.
Real hidden gem.
Yep. Lots of iron.
Tomba.
All right. Anyways. Okay.
This man dropped Tomba. Oh shit.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
I did play GTA San Andreas when that did come out on Game Pass. They dropped
Dish
that.
Girl.
So I booted it up just to see what it was like. Just to kind of tickle my memory banks a little bit. And man, I got right back into it. Busted as the game is, I currently playing through it and just having a good time.
Really?
Yeah. I forgot everything that I forgot the entire story of the game, and just going through it again is I'm having an all right time with it. I'm not like super invested. It's just something I'm going in every once in a while. I'm playing a mission or two here and there. They just released a patch yesterday.
The first of many.
Yeah. Like I didn't really notice like too much was janky until it started raining in that game. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? This looks like they just superimposed a rain filter on the camera.
That's what happens when you hire a mobile developer they had some experience. But
it looked horrible. And then the thing with the next. But as far as like the game, I guess it speaks volumes about the game itself that it's still in this state, still somewhat enjoyable for me anyways. It's my favorite GTA, like we talked about on the previous Dogcast.
I mean, that makes sense too. And it's a lot of people's favorites. I think that's why Microsoft was like, we're going to put this on Game Pass. Just that one.
Yeah.
I think either people really, I think
everyone wanted Vice City.
I think people either love those two, and I think some people look at 3 and
3's
say,
my favorite.
Could take it or leave it.
So fucking moody.
Is it?
3's your favorite?
Yeah.
I played through.
Did you play through them all,
when as they were coming out. I don't think I finished 5 though. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
Okay.
I finished 5.
Played through that one a couple times, but
almost reluctant.
I would say definitely hold off for patches, or if you really want to get the best experience, play it on PS2. I do really like how they modernized the controls. They did bring it up to like GTA 5-ish controls and help a little bit with like the aim assisting and headshots. So it does feel a lot like that.
So that's been my biggest complaint with all of Rockstar games. There's always something off about the way the game controls. Everyone has a bit too much weight to them.
Yeah.
And the aiming never feels right. Like a way that a human would aim a gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or God bless it, in Red Dead 2, accidentally blowing people's brains out for no reason.
Well, there's a lesson in button mapping right there.
A lot of buttons do the same thing. Turns out it's not a great idea.
No. And also, just to finish up here, unless you guys have any other games you're playing, I picked up
I just got that
copy
too.
of Deathloop. I thought it was going to
on the Black Friday sale.
Did you? Oh yeah. I started it, not really knowing what to think. I'm like, I'll just check this out.
What's Arcane? Have you played Dishonored?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But this one, I kind of like, I don't know, when the coverage was coming out, I kind of just ignored it. And then I noticed when it came out, it got some good reviews, and I just found a copy, and I'm like, okay, I'll put it in. It's really rad. Like I'm not very far in the game.
Being able to play.
I'm not very far in the game, but I'm really enjoying it.
How are you going to buy me that PS5?
Maybe you won't threaten to kill me someday. We'll talk.
It's your settlement
or
agreement.
destroy me. Yeah.
Basically.
Yes. Yeah. Right. But
we secretly got married. He doesn't know yet.
Yes, I'll have more to talk about.
I'm going to ask for alimony.
I'll have more to talk about in Deathloop, our next podcast, once I play through more of it. But I am thoroughly just kind of
I'm stoked
really
to play
vibing with that game. So, all right, guys. Well, this has been a podcast. Before we leave every Dogcast, we have a segment where we sign off, but it's called One for the Road, where we sign off, give our contact info, and tell our dear listeners something cool, something neat, something fun that's not necessarily video game related that you would like for them to either check out or not check out. I don't know. Dylan, let's start with you. Do you have a One for the Road?
It's ham.
Ham?
Yes.
It's a great alternative to turkey, because turkey can sometimes be a little dry, and I don't like white meat. I'm a dark meat boy.
Dark meat, yep.
Every single time.
I like my ratio to be 75%.
Now the people who really like white meat, I'm convinced that they also don't understand how meat's supposed to taste, because they don't do the right shit to a turkey. Because with a turkey, you got to treat it with a little more tender love and care. You've got to get like a butter injector, and you fucking get right in there with a bunch of herbs and spices and shit.
Yes.
Ram it because if you're just doing like the normal, like I'm just going to put this in a crock pot and cook it for 6 hours, you're doing it wrong. So
yeah,
you want to know what ham doesn't have to deal with? Not being juicy enough, not being good enough, not being infinitely edible afterwards. Because turkey leftovers, they last for maybe 6 days before they kind of
the weird chicken, you're like the bird taste. Yeah.
What would you call like the musty?
The bird musk.
Yeah.
The bird,
I call it the musty funk. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna cook a ham. I made
ham instead of turkey for Thanksgiving.
Ham should always be the best option before a turkey.
Do you like a little pineapple with that ham?
I like a brown sugar rub on the outside if you're having it just as ham. Now, I made a ham a couple days ago, gave some to Brad, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to make I'm going to rub the outside with, like some cayenne pepper or something, I'm going to do a basic ham.
And my balls.
The other one, but if I'm doing if I'm trying to impress, say, a woman, I'm going to put pineapple juice. I'm going to add cayenne, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub that
the woman, not the ham,
sugar, and then I'm going to inject it.
Yes.
And then I'm going to inject her with butter right into her veins in the hopes that she becomes a butter woman that I can marry.
With a nice Chianti.
Because that's my religion. Yeah. No, but honestly, ham. There we go.
And how about where can people get a hold of you, Dylan?
I'm at Demons Draw Dylan on Instagram. It's the only thing I got. I make art.
You do. It's good art. I have a book recommendation for anyone who might be into movies. It's called Pictures at a Revolution, 5 Movies and the Birth of Hollywood. It's by Mark Harris. So yeah, if you're a movie person or taking a film class, you're probably a good chance that you've read or at least heard of this book. It's probably required reading in any Film 101 class, in my opinion. Basically, the book follows the Best Picture nominees of 1967 from conception to completion. And at a time when the film industry was at a junction point, moving away from the old Hollywood studio system to the new era, what I would say was probably what the era that we're in now, where there was a younger filmmakers' voices became more prevalent, and themes kind of coincided and meshed with the changing political, social, cultural standing of the U.S. So check it out. It's very good. It's very good if you're in movies at all. And I would actually recommend. I like to listen to audiobooks. I would probably recommend getting the physical actual book, just because the narrator's fine enough, but nobody corrected him on how to say it. I don't know if you heard of the director Sidney Lumet. This guy pronounces his name Lumet, and
isn't it pronounced Lumet though?
Sidney Lumet. And it bugs
actually.
I mean, that's probably yeah. But I've always, it's Lumet to me, goddammit. This guy says Lumet, and it just fucking irks me.
I feel you, Tom. I feel you.
That's the thing that gets you?
Did it? I'm pissed off at myself every time I hear it, and then the rage that it instills in me. But
it's the way that if someone starts eating on a podcast, you want to just explode the planet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anyways, that's my one for the road. Pictures at a Revolution. Check it out if you're a movie person, and you can get a hold of me at Tom_Wegner, WEGNER on Twitter. And
do you tweet often, Thomas?
Rarely.
Okay,
every once in a while.
Well, then what about Insta?
I'm on Instagram. Yeah, I think I'm Tom Wegner.
I'm getting real tired of your dick pics.
Sorry. Well,
I see it every day. Come on.
Sucks to be you. All right. And finally, our new best friend, special guest, Joey.
No, yeah, of course. Of course I do. Because I always have something to say. I just want to appreciate your...
It's okay.
Okay,
You're
so
the guest.
Dylan mentioned food, and then you basically low-key mentioned Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with that book. Because I would imagine 67 to... whatever. I think that's Guess Who's Coming.
Yep.
So I see what you did. Also,
yes,
pork is not halal, Dylan. What are you thinking? Every Muslim American is dying right now, knowing that they can't eat ham for Thanksgiving, and you've given them bad. I'm just fucking around.
I don't care about their religious exemptions.
Oh,
it's
no,
fine.
Oh no, Joey, sorry, buddy.
Like I said, some things aren't for other people, and then that's fine.
It's the ham is the Shin Meg-HAM-i Tensei.
Ham is the Shin Meg-HAM-i Tensei of Islam. That is the thing. Whatever the adage for this episode.
That is our.
You want to know what? I don't care how smart they are. I actually want to eat smarter animals.
Yes. Hello,
Joey.
My one for the road is. I actually just listened to it yesterday. An album called Blood Moon 1 by Converge. They had a guest with Chelsea Wolfe did guest vocals, and Stephen Brodsky did guitar parts. Really awesome. Probably my album of the year. It snuck in on me. Check that out. It's like
what kind of music? I've
it's
never
like heavy stuff. Somewhere between metal, I don't know, prog, really
fine.
technical stuff.
I like that.
Lots of like sparse.
You got me there.
You got the progress.
Haunting vocal melody stuff. Very heavy. Check it out, man.
Awesome.
If you haven't heard of Converge, I'm sorry for your existence.
Check it.
You're fucking up. Plug
yourself.
Plug in myself. What is my URL? Oh, here we go.
All the plugs.
Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/podcastjump. I tweet often and passionately. That sounded really weird. Also on Twitch at twitch.tv/jump and shoot gaming. I hate that URL. Maybe I'll change it soon. And I'm also on the Super RPG Friends pretty regularly on Monster Vine Official.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Thank you guys so much for having me on, though. I realized I didn't
that was a lot
thank you.
of fun, dude. Thank you.
Oh man, are you kidding? We needed.
And I was here.
Guests,
I was a
and you were
piece of meat.
fantastic.
Yeah,
You stuffed
you were-
me with a
you were
butter
a
and
piece
of the ham.
talking about
Yeah,
SMT
you,
and secular anarchistic politics. You got me.
Hey, listen, if there were anyone on this podcast who was going to talk about SMT5, I maybe bought it out of obligation. Because I was like, no one else is going to. You guys are always like Assassin's Creed. And like, I played the newest like Halo game. And I'm just like, I played Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Ooh.
All right. You're the meanest bastard. We get it. All right. Well, thanks again, Joy, and thanks for
Anytime, man.
answering the call to come on the Dogcast in such short notice.
And
really appreciate
likewise,
it. You're welcome
please,
back anytime.
both of
'cause
you,
it's been
either of you,
fantastic.
some gestalt of you,
Yeah.
please jump on Jump and Shoot.
Absolutely, man.
I'm definitely going to join for the next one.
And you got to
'cause-
join the Super RPG Friends.
You'd be.
Oh,
You
I
do
will,
it.
It was a
yeah.
blast. So much fun. This has been Hair of the Dogcast. You can get a hold of the podcast at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. Twitter us at Hot Dogcast. We are on Instagram. We've been dropping a lot of Midwest Gaming Classic content lately. So if you've been on the Patreon, if you're part of the Patreon, you have all the audio feeds of that already. We'll be doling some of that out. We've already started dropping, and we'll be dropping more the next couple of weeks. And we also have some video only content from the convention. Some really cool, informative interviews and presentations you should really check out. So go to youtube.com. I think Hair of the Dogcast.
been popping up in my feed. So
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. And thank you all. We hope you have, if you're in the U.S., hope you have a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving. If you're not, just fucking eat some ham.
Except for most of the Middle East.
do something. You don't even have to eat ham. I'll tell you what. Maybe even
Except for, yes.
maybe even
Except,
better.
God damn it.
Maybe even better than ham might be the green bean casserole, which highly underrated.
Yeah, the little fucking onion.
Now you got to understand that there's a better way to do it.
Okay, let's stop there. Okay. All right, everybody. From all of us here, Hair of the Dogcast. Thanks again, Joy. Thanks, Dylan. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Love you, bitches.